The challenge here was to come up with a design for this rather dull and uninspiring and very oddly shaped garden behind a modern barn conversion. As you can see, it's also overlooked by this rather dominant building to one side, which sits at the end of the main focal point. The plan I came up with was to build the garden around a central water feature and create a courtyard effect with two seating areas, one small intimate space by the kitchen doors and another at the far end under a pergola, which would help to screen the rather dominant building that overlooked. As we enter through the back gate, one of the first things we'll notice is the water feature sitting in the centre, surrounded by a small moat. Around this is a circle of natural stone sets, which match in with the paving slabs which lead up to the main doors to the property. As we follow this path up through the borders, we reach the smaller and more intimate of the two seating areas, which is situated just outside of the kitchen doors for convenience. As we turn around and head back up the garden, you can see the view of the water feature from this side is really quite different. It consists of a very large chunk of limestone rock which has been bored to make a water feature. And behind that is a large pergola with some very close trellising in the back to screen off the property behind, which otherwise would have overlooked. Here we have a garden for a typical new build home. As you can see, it's absolutely tiny, and to make matters worse, we have that huge shed in the corner, which is the first thing you see when you look out of the patio door, so we need to do something to screen that. Also, it slopes very sharply down from the back of the house, and as you can see there, the paving left by the builders is really pretty ugly stuff, so we need a new design. This is my first attempt. It's divided into 3 distinct levels. The upper level is paved, much bigger than the existing, and then we go down onto an area of artificial turf, which is much easier to maintain in a small garden than real grass. The final level at the bottom is a sunken seating area with built-in benches and some white rendered panels on the wall to give it a modern look. We've also put some trellis around the shed area, which will grow some plants up, which will help to hide that. And as you can see, the view through the patio doors here, the shed's almost disappeared, and the seating area really does look quite attractive. Now the good news here was that the clients loved the design. However, they didn't like the budget, so we had to go back and revisit it, and we swapped out the brickwork for the retaining walls for sleepers. Timber sleepers are a much cheaper way of doing this kind of thing. We also took out the built-in benches. We're going to leave it to the client to put their own rattan furniture in. Overall, the effect's not much change, so on with the work. The first thing was to dig everything out and set the levels and get all the retaining walls in place with the sleepers, and start bringing in a lot of hardcore, having already taken a huge amount of dirt out. Next we moved on, we got down to the paving, the grass, got all the bits in, and as you can see here, the finished garden all planted up. Obviously it needs to grow a little, but not too different to what you've seen on the designs. So, having finished it, now I'm going to take you through and give you a little walkthrough. So here we are, starting at the back gate. Here we go, and there you can see the first set of steps which lead up from the back gate onto the patio at the back of the house. If you turn to the right, we can go down and across the garden, over the artificial lawn, down through the steps into what will be the lower seating area. You can see the white rendered panels on the walls, which just bring a little bit more light into that space. A trellis all around the shed, and the shed door is still quite accessible. Paths wide enough to open the door fully. You can see a little clematis down there on the trellis, which will eventually grow up and start to twine around there. And we step back up again onto the artificial grass. No maintenance there to worry about. You can see we went for a lavender for the dividing planting along that low sort of hedge there in front of the step, and up to the patio doors, where we're going to turn round, and you can see how well that shed's hidden by that trellis, and imagine how much more so once the planting's established. And now we've gone from a tiny unusable space to a nice usable garden. So if you like what you see and you need your own garden sorting out, or you're facing similar problems, do feel free to give me a call, and provided you're not too far away, I'll do my best I can for you. Thanks for watching.